Hello everybody, Ben here. In today's video we're looking at Dapol's updated N-Gauge M7 in Southwestern Railway livery. The version I got was 2S-010-006 in SWR lined green, and it is number 245, and it can even go around first radius curves. The model costs around £85 and weighs around 42 grams, not the heaviest but definitely an improvement over the previous model. The instructions are quite detailed and show you where to oil the locomotive and talk about running in the loco. The parts pack includes a few extra details and some alternative couplings as well. At the front of the loco there is some nicely moulded buffers, vacuum hose, lamp brackets and an NEM coupling pocket. Well, on the smokebox door you have this sort of unusual shaped, bendy S almost shaped section. I don't know quite what it is. I assume it's where the cylinders are behind, but it's quite an unusual shape, which is, I guess, interesting. On the smokebox door you've also got more lamp irons, a handrail which curves across the top, smokebox darts, various rivets, though you do have some moulded detail for a shed code and number board. These are left over from BR model versions of this model, but it does allow this model to be cheaper than having a completely separate mould without those details. So, it's kind of a mix of both. It's not as good a model, but it's cheaper, so it's just how you want to take your model, I guess. Above the splasher there is a sand filler cap, and then a nicely moulded handrail that runs along the boiler to the cap. On one side I do think it looks somewhat not straight, it looks a bit slanted, but I'm not entirely sure. It might just be the camera, and it also might just be me, and it might be me handling it, I don't know, but it doesn't look quite straight to me, but I'm not entirely sure. There is also a slight seam which is somewhat visible, especially in certain lights, along the top of the boiler. On top of the tanks there is a filler cap and various other details that I don't know the name of. The dome looks quite nice with the safety valves moulded in on the top, along with some very complicated pipework near the whistle, which looks finely moulded to me. Even the steps on the running plate look finely moulded and quite elegantly shaped and formed, and I think that they're quite good pieces of this model. Inside the cab there is some nicely moulded detail, but it is not painted, which is a bit unfortunate. While the coal in the bunker may be quite large, it looks okay, I guess. You can always replace it with your own if you want. There is a slight issue with the fitment of the roof, as you can see, as there's a bit of a seam there and you can see daylight through. The bogie is sprung and all the wheels on this model, including the driving wheels, look nicely moulded with fine spokes on the wheels. However, the coupling rods are plastic, which isn't a good feature on Dapol's part. But again, I guess it keeps the cost of the model low, and it's just how it is. And it doesn't look amazing, but it's not too bad, I don't think. But there's some nice detail around the firebox area of this model. I think the paintwork on this model is really good. The number plate is readable with even the Southwestern Railway lettering around it. All the colours are nicely painted. I assume all the colours are correct, I'm not entirely sure on that, but from what it is, it's all consistent, and I think it looks good. There's the interestingly fonted 0 on the front buffer beam. The lining is quite complicated with a white line, then a black in between it, and then a black again, before being edged with a chocolate almost colour around the green. It's all very complicated, especially across the boiler and around the tanks, but I think it is all done very well. And the whistle and the safety valve, though, are the only unfortunate parts, along with the coupling rods, where they're supposed to be metallic but just look like painted plastic, because that's what they are. The running on this model is good. The crawl is not amazing, but the slow speed is pretty good. Don't need to go too slow all the time, it gets a bit boring, at least for me anyway. And a slow medium speed is what you spend a lot of your time running your model, and that's where this model seems to be a good runner. It's not the best at slow speeds, but how much time you spend there. It has plenty of power, perhaps a bit fast still, but that's a carryover from the previous model, but that was a lot faster, as I'll show later in the video, so that's not a problem, I don't think, because again, you don't go too fast, so unless you're being a bit stupid, it won't flash your curves. The model is reliable and powerful enough. Yes, it can't pull 10 coaches, but I don't think the prototype did either. So it does what you need it to do, hauling branch line trains, maybe a bit longer if you need it to. But it might struggle with, I say, over 5 coaches, but 3 coaches, which I think looks well proportioned with it. It can pull with ease, I find, and it's definitely a lot better, more appropriate gearing for this model, and being able to haul heavier trains than the previous model, which is a good thing. Comparing it to the previous model, you can see it's a lot better of a runner. Yes, this is obviously an older model, and I've done some stuff to it, but that included weighting it a bit more at the front, which was a problem with the older model, and as you can see, it still doesn't haul a train very well at all. I found it pulled trains better if you moved one of the wheel axles on the rear bogie, and then because obviously there's more weight on the driving wheels at that point, it actually hauled trains better. So you can see although the model is kind of based on the previous, this model here, the previous one, it still is a lot better of a model, and not just them repainting it into some different liveries they haven't done or haven't done in a while. So it's good in that respect. They've done good there, Dapol. And even the high speed on the green newer one is a lot lower than this stupidly fast blue one. I did have some problems with the bogie derailing in one direction on only one point on my layout. It may be just my track work, but bear it in mind. For the price, it's a good model with a good level of detail, and with only a few small issues that aren't too noticeable and may not be a problem at all for some people as well.